Good morning, everybody. My name is Sulondia Hammond, affectionately known as Sue Ham Baby, and I am excited that you have decided to join me this Wednesday for the midweek motivation and empowerment plus business tip call. I tell you, you could have been anywhere else in the world, but you decided to take 15 minutes of your most precious asset, which is your time, and spend it with me. So I'm excited. I'm giving you guys a big round of applause right now. I am very excited that you decided to take action. Now, for those of you that don't know me, again, I am Sulondia Hammond. Got to tell you, I am a mother of 3 children, a lover of God and his people, which I consider to be the most important title on this earth. And, got some other subtitles, do little things like published author, radio host, internet marketer, blogger, and coaching and a few other things. But the reason why I started this call is because I know that sometimes we get to the hump day on Wednesday and we're just like, oh, God, I'm halfway there. If I could just make it 2 more days, I will be okay. Sounds like, I remember when I was in the workforce, I wish that there was something that could help to motivate me throughout the rest of the week. So I started this conference call as a way to give you guys some midweek motivation, but also to inspire you to take action and live on purpose and to help take you higher in your business so that you can garner more sales and impact more lives. And I got to tell you, when I was sitting here this morning, I was like, man, what am I going to discuss this morning? What am I going to discuss? And I believe in calling on God. Some people call him universe. Some people call him higher power, the creator. Whatever name you give it, that's cool. But I believe in calling on God and asking, for guidance, because I think that when you ask, you receive what you ask for. And so I was like, oh, man, I picked up my book, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich book. And if you guys don't have that book, as soon as you get off this call, go pick up Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. But I picked up my book, I opened up the book, and there I saw the topic of fear. And I was like, well, I wonder if that's what I'm supposed to talk about. So then I picked up my book, Don't Quit, Follow Your Dreams, and I opened it up to the chapter that says Replace Fear with Faith. And it's amazing. It's funny how you can ask for guidance, and the things are like just dropping into your lap, and you still question it. So I was like, I wonder if that's what I'm supposed to be talking about. I'm supposed to be talking about fear this morning. So then I go to my email, and I see an email, and it's talking about fear and being afraid and allowing your fear to stop you from doing the things which you're supposed to do. And so, that was the 3rd time. So it was like, oh, okay, I'll talk to you guys about fear. Hopefully, you guys, it doesn't take you that long to get it like it did me, but it took me 3 times. But today's topic is going to be about fear. And I think it is so relevant because fear is what's stopping all of us. Well, some of us have learned to control and manage it. But for the majority of us, fear is what's stopping all of us from really living a good life. I don't care if it's fear of dying, fear of success, fear of failure, fear of criticism, whatever that fear is, if you really, really, really stop and analyze that thing, it's stopping you from living. You see, because fear cripples you. It leaves you stagnant. Fear robs you of victory. It destroys your attempt at success. Man, it places limits upon you. If you didn't have any fear, you wouldn't have any limits. You know what I'm saying? You would feel invincible. Fear prevents you from living on purpose, which is really, 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 really crazy. Because here's the thing. I believe that we were all created for a purpose, and we were all given supernatural powers and abilities, talents, and gifts to fulfill that purpose. So why then do we allow fear to stop us from fulfilling it when we came here with the agenda, with the mission, with the purpose, and with the things that we need to fulfill it? You see what I'm saying? So knowing that, we should never allow fear to stagnate us. Fear causes us to live below our worth. We tend to undervalue ourselves because we are afraid of what others may think. Fear erases spontaneity and it promotes boredom. And I got to tell you, you probably can tell if this is your first time ever hearing me, that I can't deal with boredom, man. Boredom kills me. I'm all about energy, excitement, enthusiasm, and making it happen. Listen, fear will cause you to play it safe. It'll leave you feeling inadequate. It will leave you broke, sad, and usually with regret. And guys, I got to tell you, fear will render you powerless. That's not natural, man. That's not natural. You are powerful beings. You are powerful beings. So if you are dealing with fear this morning, I'm here to tell you that fear is not natural. Now, Napoleon Hill said, fear is nothing more than a state of mind. Oh my goodness! When I read that this morning, I was like, "Oh wow, that's powerful." You know, fear is nothing more than a state of mind. Here's the good news, guys. The good news is because it's just a state of mind, you have the ability to control your mind. You have the ability to control your thoughts. Isn't that the good thing, the great news? That means, if you're still not getting it, you have the ability to not be afraid. Did you catch that? You have the ability to not be afraid. I remember when I wanted to get out and pursue my career in the arts and be an entrepreneur. Man, I was so afraid because I was on my job and it was such a security thing. I knew my check was coming every 2 weeks. At least back then we did. I worked for the government. We knew it was coming. Nowadays, you don't even know if your check is coming, okay? But I was getting paid every 2 weeks, and I knew my check was coming, and I was afraid to leave that security, even though I was dying literally and figuratively. I was still afraid. Now, you tell me, how asinine is that? How crazy is that? How ludicrous is that? I'm willing to stay somewhere where I'm dying both literally and figuratively when I should be out fulfilling the purpose that I was created to fulfill. So instead of me walking in faith, I was letting fear stagnate me, cripple me, render me powerless, and was literally killing me. And some of you are going through that right now. Some of you are needing to birth those businesses that's right up in your heart that you need to come on out with. Some of you are needing to get the counseling that you're afraid that others are going to judge you about, whether it be marriage counseling, whether it be counseling for something you went through in your childhood or something that you may be going through now. Some of you are afraid to walk away from that job and do that thing for which you were created. Some of you are afraid to excel on your jobs. Some of you are afraid to stand out. You are more so wanting to fit in, and therefore you cannot elevate, whether it be on your job, in your business, in your home, in your career, in your friendships, whatever relationships that you may have, you can't even go higher because you're afraid. Napoleon Hill says there are 6 ghosts of fear. And I'm going to before I get to the 6 ghosts of fear, I want to tell you what he said about indecision. Because I got to tell you guys, if you want to be successful, if you want to master fear, and I don't even really know if you can master fear, but you can control it because you can control your thoughts, then you have to make a decision and take action. Napoleon Hill said, indecision is the seedling of fear. Remember this as you read. He says, indecision crystallizes into doubt. The two blend and become fear. So what does that mean? If you can't make a decision and you add doubt with that equals fear. Did you get that? The blending process, he said, is often slow. And this is why these 3 enemies are so dangerous. Dangerous. So if you can't make a decision, if you're indecisive, and then you couple that with doubt, guys, that turns into fear. But the great news is fear is nothing more than a state of mind. So how does things change? How do we get rid of fear, Sue? That's what we want to know. We already know we got fear. How do we get rid of it? Well, guys, I got to tell you, speaking from experience, the way for me to get rid of fear, two things. And it's so simple. The funny thing about life is it is so simple till we make it so hard. But the way to get rid of fear is, one, like Napoleon Hill said, change your state of mind. I think that you need to feed your mind with knowledge. I think that you need to go out and do those things that you fear. to prove that fear is nothing but an illusion to keep you stagnated and to keep you from growing and to keep you from living on purpose. So there are 3 things right there I think that you can do to help eliminate or to control your fear. Number 1 is change your mind, change your thoughts, you change your life, you change your reality. Number 2, feed yourself with knowledge. Feed your mind with knowledge. Feed your mind with positivity. Get rid of the negativity. Get rid of all the junk that's been building up. You ran out of room for positive things in your life because you filled it with junk. Get rid of the junk. It's time to have a yard sale and say, you know what? Get up out of here, poverty. Get up out of here, depression. Get up out of here, low self-esteem. Get up out of here. I got a yard sale going. And guess what? If I can't sell it, I'm going to just give it away because I need to make room for positivity. I need to make room for success. I need to make room for elevation. I need to make room for compassion and for love and for wisdom and for knowledge and for vision. Come on, somebody. That's what we are going to do. And number 3, the third way to get rid of fear is to do it, man. Just like Nike said, just do it. I don't care. You're afraid, just do it. Just jump. Having faith means you jumping anyway. Even though you don't see how you're going to land, you're going to jump anyway because you believe that you're going to land. So have the faith and just do it. Now, over the next few weeks on this call, because this thing is fear is such a big factor in stopping people, I'm going to be discussing the 6 factors of fear that Napoleon Hill lists. And the 6 ones are poverty, criticism, ill health, lost love, old age, and death. So the 6 fears, the major fears that Napoleon Hill discusses is poverty, criticism, ill health, lost love, old age, and death. And guys, I want to say if I'm talking kind of fast, I apologize, but I'm stoked, man. I'm energetic. I'm enthused. But this call is being recorded, and you'll be able to get the recording shortly thereafter. Okay? Now, the first fear I want to discuss is poverty. Poverty. And like I said, the next 5, we'll discuss it over the next 5 weeks. But poverty, man. Poverty. Listen. Poverty is crazy. I was watching the Gabby Douglas story, and her mother on the show said, poor is when you've lost all hope. Man, that thing hit me so hard, I shed a tear on that. Poor is when you've lost all hope. See, here's the thing. We all fear poverty. I don't care who you are, you fear poverty. I don't care if you say, I fear no man, okay, or I fear nothing. You do fear poverty. See, poverty is one of those things that will stagnate you and keep you from going anywhere. It is ridiculous. Listen, here's what Napoleon Hill had to say about poverty. He said, fear of poverty is a state of mind, nothing else, but it is sufficient to destroy one's chances of achievement in any undertaking. This fear paralyzes the faculty of reason, destroys the faculty of imagination, kills off self-reliance, undermines enthusiasm, discourages initiatives, leads to uncertainty of purpose, encourages procrastination, wipes out enthusiasm, and makes self-control an impossibility. Did you hear that? The simple fear of poverty destroys your imagination. I can attest to that, guys. When I was sitting there broke, worrying about bills, how I was going to make ends meet, that's the only thing I focused on. I didn't focus on the fact that in order to get rid of poverty, I needed to generate new ideas of how to start businesses, new ideas of how to generate money, new ideas of how to serve people, because when you serve people and help them get what they want, you then get what you want. Instead of me focusing on that, instead of me focusing on my imagination and having the vision, I focused on being broke. So what was getting done? Absolutely nothing. Just like they say, war. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Nothing was getting done because I was too focused on the problems at hand instead of focusing on a solution. I was too focused on being broke. I was too focused on, I don't have the money to do this. How am I going to make this happen? Instead of focusing on, how can I make this happen? You know what? I'm going to make this happen, and this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to follow this step, this step, this step, this step, this step, because I despise being broke. No, guys, for me, I was waddling in my brokenness, and I was poor because I had lost hope.